B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'nasliyah. So we're continuing where we left off last week. We were discussing the halachot of Netilat Yadayim. So sorry. Netilat Yadayim. The halachot of Netilat Yadayim. And we were discussing whether you're supposed to use a Netila cup or not for Netilat Yadayim of morning time. If you do, what are the halachot boundaries? If you don't, what the halachot boundaries are? So far and so forth. So now, as we know, we do Netilat Yadayim 3 times, meaning 6 times altogether. You get 3 on each hand. So in the morning time when we wake up, how do we do it? We pick up the cup, 1 time on the right, 1 time on the left, 1 time, right, left, right, until you get 6 times, which means each hand gets a flow of 3 times of water. What is the number 3 here? So the number 3 is, it says the Maran Shulchan Aruch was stringent when it came to this. You need to have the flow of water on your hands 3 times at least. That means 3 pours, 3 pourings on each hand, in order to get rid of what we called last week the ruach ra'ah, this evil spirit, this impurity, the bad vibes. Right. Thank you for the reminder, sir. The bad vibes. You want to get rid of them. You don't want that around your aura all day. You want to be able to go to work knowing that you are full of positivity. And therefore, you need to do it 3 on each hand. So he says, the Magen Avraham says, "Afilu shofech harbe b'sha'a achat." Even if a person takes lots of water in an entire bucket, and you dump the entire bucket on your both hands, 1 time on this hand and 1 time on the other hand, it does not help. It does not help because it's not 3. This ruach ra'ah does not leave your hands until you do it 3 times. 1 time on the right hand, 1 time on the left hand, until you get 3 on each hand, which is 6 times altogether. Just to explain just a little bit about the whole concept of ruach ra'ah, this impurity spirit or whatever it is, we have to understand in life there is more than just physicality, right? There is more than just physicality. You wanna put on this air over here? If you want? I think you want the air on. Huh? No, that one's not. What is this ruach ra'ah? Life is not just this physical life that we have with physicalities. Just like a person, for instance, imagine it like this. You touch a dirty surface, you wash your hands. Why? You wash it with antibacterial soap, or you wash your hands, or you cleanse your hands with antibacterial cleansers. Why? Because now science has found that there is such a thing as bacteria. And it attaches itself to your hands or your body. And you could get sick from it, God forbid. You catch a cold or the flu. And in fact, it's proven today that most of flus and colds and things that are contagious are transferred through handshakes. Right? So no one's going to come argue today that, you know what, why wash your hands with soap? I mean, it's a given. There's something called the bacteria. Bacteria is transferred from one hand to the other. Therefore, we have to wash our hands with soap. So the same thing we always say in the spiritual world, everything in the spiritual world is mimicked, mirror imaged in the physical world. Whatever we have in the spiritual world, you have the mirror image of it in the physical world. Therefore, there is such a thing as ruach ra'ah, an impure spirit in the spiritual world, where it might not be just regular molecules or bacteria, but it's something spiritual that does affect your body. And there is ways of getting rid of that spirituality. And the Chachamim knew through their wisdom, through Kabbalah, through the Zohar, through their wisdom, they understood that you get rid of this Ruach Ra'ah by pouring 3 times on each hand. And that Ruach Ra'ah comes on the body. We said last time, either because when a person sleeps, you're 1/60th dead, and that death concept leaves a residue of impurity on a person's body and hands especially, or said according to the others that it's just because your hands, when you sleep, your hands are, they're going all over the place. You're bound to touch something dirty on your body, and therefore you need to have, especially at night, you need to have this Netilat Yadayim done in the morning. And we make the bracha, as we said, according to some of the Chachamim, the bracha is made just like the Kohen, when they would go to the Beit HaMikdash in the morning to begin their services. You're about to do a mitzvah. You begin your services with a mitzvah of washing your hands, meaning cleaning yourself, making yourselves ready for your service. You make a bracha. When a person wakes up in the morning, you're making yourself ready to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a mitzvah. Washing your hands is a mitzvah, and therefore you make al netilat yadayim on that washing. Right? It's important to understand that anything that we do, we should have that kind of kavanah. And it's brought down also that when a person is washing their hands netilat yadayim in the morning, you should have the kavanah that harei ani, right now, I behold, I'm making myself ready to go serve my Creator. And this is the beginning of that. Asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. This is a commandment I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm cleaning my hands so that I'll be ready to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu the way I'm supposed to, with cleanliness. Any questions so far?
So the hygienic aspect as well as the spiritual.
The hygienic aspect is the hygienic aspect, right? A person is definitely chayav to take. You're obligated to take showers and clean yourself. It's brought down in the Gemara. The Demorim were like that. One of them was once going to the bathhouse, and his Talmidim asked him, "Rebbe, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to do a mitzvah." And they said, "What is it?" He said, "I'm going to the bathhouse." They said, "We didn't know going to the bathhouse is a mitzvah." He says, "Of course, it's a great mitzvah, because if you have a king, and the king has his statue in the middle of the town, right? You don't think cleaning that statue would look nice for the king? You don't think he would love that one of his people is cleaning his statue? Same thing. We are an image of Hashem. God has created us in His image. If we're not clean, if we're not tidy, if we don't look nice, what are you really saying? You're disrespecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Especially if you're a Jew and you walk around like a Jew. People look at you and be like, this is how a Jew looks. Right? The guy smells, or the guy doesn't look nice. His hair is all over the place. His clothes are ripped and smelly. So cleaning ourselves and being clean is a mitzvah. We're actually doing a mitzvah for Hashem. We're looking the part of a prince. That's the mitzvah. Yes?
I get the spiritual side, but hygienic side, Judaism, if I just do Netilah, is it good enough, or I have to wash my hands?
No. Hygienic side, you should wash your hands just to be clean. Right? But according to the spiritual side, if you do Netilat Yadayim, that helps with the impurity. It's not going to help you with germs, right?
Wait, so in terms of like the order of washing, why is that share different?
Why is what different? Sorry. How is it different?
Is it the order?
3 and 3 and 1.
Oh, for Netilat Yadayim, for eating bread and Netilah, okay, we'll get to that. It will be brought down. Now, there's also a machloket. Let's say you have snow, right? Can you do Netilat Yadayim in snow? Or can you do Netilat Yadayim? Let's say you have snow outside. You wanna go and dip your hands in snow. You don't have a keli. You don't have a Netilah cup, right? And you want to wash in the morning. You've gone tenting. You've gone climbing Mount Everest. You've lost your mind and decided to climb Mount Everest. I'm kidding. But if you do, you've probably lost your mind. I'm kidding. But let's say you decided, and there's only snow. You don't have a Netilah cup or anything. is dipping your hands in the snow considered doing Netilat Yadayim?
Wait, I think we should start with
Yes?
the lake.
Why?
Because there's nothing else available. It's
Okay, what did you?
Let's start with the lake first, or a pool.
We'll get that too. We'll get to that too.
Before you get to snow.
So here's the snow part. If you're sticking your hands into one section of snow, what's going to happen is like this. You just stuck your hand in one hole of snow. You made a hole in the snow. Now, that part of the snow now is water that was used to cleanse your hands from impurity. That part of the snow now has impurity on it. You sticking your hand into that again, it's like you're reusing your Netilah water, which is a no-no. So, you definitely can't do that. But, if you want to look like a madman in front of other people, when they're watching you going like, take 3 sections of snow, so everyone's going to be like, I'm not climbing this mountain with this freak. I'm not, You do that, it counts. It counts to get rid of, it counts for you to be able to pray shacharit. We said there's 2 different parts to it. One is you do Netilat Yadayim so that you'll be able to pray shacharit in the morning because you've cleansed yourself for the prayer and service of Hashem. And another is the Ruach Ra'ah. So there's a discussion here. Does that get rid of the Ruach Ra'ah or not? Most poskim agree that it does not get rid of the Ruach Ra'ah, the impure spirit, but it does help you be able to start shacharit. You'll be able to put on tefillin with that. Doing it like that, you could put on tefillin. Is that clear? 1 second. Therefore, you can't make a bracha on that. Dipping your hands in the snow in 3 different parts of the snow will help you to be able to put on tefillin in the morning at least, but it's not going to help. You're not going to make bracha. Why? Because it doesn't get rid of the Ruach Ra'ah. Ruach Ra'ah only goes away when you have a keli, when you have a utensil, a cup, and you'll pour 3 and 3. You can't make a bracha. Now, someone had a question?
Yes.
Jess?
So
Please, to be
let's
comfortable.
say somebody did have a cup, right? Is there an issue with using recyclable water?
Oh, we'll discuss that also. There is a difference when it comes to regular netilah, morning netilah, or netilat yadayim for eating bread. We'll get to that, Bezrat. Such good questions tonight. I think it's the chicken. Yeah.
If you don't do that,
I wish there was more.
if you don't wash, it's like an in the morning, and you pray, prayers do not count.
It does count, but you shouldn't do that.
It counts less.
The tefillah, but you've prayed, so to speak. So to speak. It's like you shouldn't even be touching your face with those hands, like we said before.
Also, if you take a nap, you still have to wash.
No. Naps you don't have to wash. If it's a long nap, what you should do is just do netilah, just in case maybe you touched your body or something like that. But there's no bracha for that. Right? Okay.
The point I was trying to make with recyclable water, the thing is the tumah still stays in the water, doesn't it?
Right.
Or it goes away, whatever.
No, the tumah stays in the water, especially for morning. The morning netilah is very different because you were dead before. Technically, we were 160th dead the night before. So that ruach ra'ah is a strong ruach ra'ah. Definitely, that water should not be recycled. We'll discuss for other things also.
You have to define recycling. All water is recycled.
No, he's talking about water that you just washed with, did netilah with.
Let's say, yeah.
You washed netilah with the water. Now it's in a tub. You pour it back in a cup. Someone else uses it. Right.
More specific, when I was asking this question, I was thinking about the recyclable water when somebody uses the bathroom in one of those small cubicles, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And that water that's usually used, I believe, is recyclable water.
I don't think it is.
It's not?
I highly doubt that it is. That definitely isn't. It's dirty enough as it is. I think they're gonna.
Is there a recycling?
Now, as he mentioned, also now let's talk about a lake. Right? Let's talk about a river. Sorry, a river or a mikveh. Does that count?
Yeah.
Let's say you wake up,
Yes, but
you went camping, and you're next to a river, right? You don't have a netilah cup. A river is a natural spring. You have natural mikveh here. Or you're a mikveh. You actually have a mikveh next to you. You don't have a Netilah cup. I don't know where you found yourself, but you don't have a Netilah cup, but you have a working mikveh. Let's just say you do, all right? And it's a kosher mikveh. Will that count if you go into the mikveh or dip your hands into the mikveh? Does that count? Once again,
Well, there's a difference. Is running water versus
both count as a
mikveh isn't
mikveh.
running water.
It is.
If
It
it's
is.
running, that water goes. So that water leaves. It's an issue of
Mikveh is
Right, so that's not going to be an issue of reusing the water you don't have, right? But you still have the issue of pouring the water on your hands. Again, the issue of having a Netilah cup and pouring 3 times on one hand, 3 times. Therefore, dipping it in a mikveh or dipping it in a river does help for tefillah, but it does not help to get rid of the ruach ra'ah. That
You have to wash twice.
therefore, you cannot make a blessing. And then if you did your tefillah and then you found yourself a sink or water with a cup, you do netilah again, but then you can't make the bracha anymore because there's a safek, there's a doubt. Whether the first time you dipped in the mikveh, does that really count? Because there's a machloket, there's a difference of opinion by the chachamim, or does it not really count? So you don't know if it really got rid of it or not. Therefore, you cannot make a bracha, right?
Hey, it's supposed to be the other type.
I can't do it. Stop it.
Rabbi Salai. You know what's the point of chicken? The mikveh, full mikveh.
Zimbabwe chicken.
If
Yeah.
I do that, does that count?
No.
He's saying no, you need the cup.
Still,
Full mikveh, not just put my hand.
full mikveh. It still wouldn't count for the ruach ra according to this, only because according to the Zohar says the 3 times is what does it. Of pouring 3 times with your hand. There is called something, as we mentioned, it's called koach gavra, right? There's something that goes into pouring it with your hand, but power of your hand pouring on one hand and pouring on the other hand, that's what does it. So according to the Zohar, it doesn't help because the Zohar explicitly says you need it, right? But according to some, it does help completely. That's why we say you can't make a bracha on it. And if you find the cup later, you should do it again. Don't make a bracha, right? Mi shein lo keli, someone that doesn't have a utensil ve'yesh lefanav nahar or yam, but you have in front of you a river or an ocean or a mikveh. Yitvol sham yadav. You could do tevilah with his hands. He could stick his hands in the mikveh or the water. And then afterwards, when he finds an actual utensil with water, he should still do Netilat Yadayim uno mas, one more time, the whole day. But and really, mutar litol yadav shacharit b'mayim chamim. And you're allowed to wash your hands with hot water. Also, v'nachon she'amtin militol yadav bahem ad shehiu poshrim. He should wait until they're a little bit warm. V'lo yehiu begeder chom she'ayet zoledet. And they should not be water that will burn your hands. If you do it with water that burn your hands, it's problematic. Because that you can't really keep your hands. So if you're going to wash your hands with warm water, just do it with warm water, not with hot water. All right? Now, the Mishnah Berurah, it's interesting that the Mishnah Berurah says, if you stick your hands in snow in 3 different parts, not the same section of the snow, the Mishnah Berurah, so I guess the Ashkenazim have this, the Mishnah Berurah paskins that you could make a bracha on that. So I guess according to the Mishnah Berurah, even a mikveh or a nahar, he would hold you could say a bracha on that. But us Sephardim, we don't do it because of safek brachot lehakel. Meaning, when you have a safek, when you have a doubt, whether you make a bracha or not in halacha, you don't make the bracha, stay on the safe side, not to, God forbid, say Hashem's name in vain. Any question?
It's also the sink. People do it and turn the sink.
Right, so the sink thing is the koach gavra that we spoke about, which means you have to have the power of hand. So what happens if you don't have a keli, you don't have a utensil, so you want to pour water on your hand and also have the koach gavra, which means the power of your hand doing it. Because once you open the sink, now it's running on its own. It's not your hand doing it anymore. So we want to do it in a way that your hand is doing it. So what do? We take the sink and we just keep shutting it off and on. We take our hand in, off and on, take our hand in it. So that we'll get to as well, whether we make a bracha on that or not. When you do Netilat Yadayim in the morning, you have to wash your right hand first. How do we do it? You take the Netilah cup with your right hand and you give it to your left hand. Right? So we pick up the Netilah cup with our right hand, we give it to our left hand, so that this way you're going to pour first on your right hand. Then you hold the cup in your right hand and you pour on your left hand. And you should be careful that you do this 3 times on each hand so that you'll get rid of the ruach ra'ah that's on your hands. You should not do what we do for bread, which is 3 times on one hand and then 3 times on the other hand, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do not do that in the morning. You should do it one at a time.
Why do we have to
One sec,
do it with the right hand?
Let's wait 1 second. And there are those that say you should pour 4 times instead of 3 times. 3 times to get rid of the ruach ra'ah that you have on your hands. That's 3 times. And the 4th time to get rid of the water that's still on your hands that became tameh from washing the ruach ra'ah, because it's still lingering on your hands, that same water. Because it's saying, if you say 3 times gets rid of the ruach ra'ah, which means 1, 2, 3, right? So that 3rd water is still now on your hands. So you have the ruach ra'ah with that 3rd water, right? By the way, it's the same concept. Water transfers tum'ah, just like transferring electricity. You understand? So when something is wet, it's very susceptible to impurity. Therefore, it's saying now that 3rd water is on your hand. It's susceptible. It still has tumah on it. So you pour it a 4th time, right? And that 4th time will get rid of that 3rd water. Now you're clean.
Most people do 3 anyway.
Right. We do 3 times only. However, don't start washing your face and stuff after you've done the 3 netilas, right? First, dry your hands completely. Get rid of that water, right? So it's completely dry. Then afterwards, go and wash your face and do other things. Or just do 4 times, and then you could wash your face and stuff like that before drying your hand. So even if you do 4 times, there's no loss here. Everybody's a winner. As long as you're Jewish and you're happy, everybody wins. And you wash your hands and you're clean. Okay, let's
When you wake up,
So if you make a mistake, if
Orale?
you make a mistake and you do the one I did with Netilah, you have to repeat it, right?
We'll get to that also. We'll get to that also. I don't want to
Pick it
get.
up with the right hand and turn it to the left. Why can't we just pick it up with the left?
We start everything with the right.
Yes. Part of it is we start everything with the right, but then I want to get into it over here because it has a thing next time. Let me go get into follow with our musar. So we were talking about emunah and bitachon, belief in Hashem, and having emunah. So Chazal limeduna b'gemara u'bamidrashim. Chachamim have taught us in the Gemara and many midrashim. It's brought down. Shekol davar ba'olam mushkach b'ashkacha pratit at lafli. Everything that happens in the world, designed by the designer and is by hashkacha pratit, which means divine providence. Everything, to the T, to the detail, everything is divine providence. Nothing is just like, stuff happens. There's no such thing. Everything is hashkacha pratit. Hen befarnasato shekol mezonotav kitzuvim lo b'midah. Whether it's your parnasa, that a person's parnasa, everything is measured precisely as to how much each person is supposed to make. Hen b'shiduchim, whether it's for shiduchim. your marriage partner, who's going to be with who, and all of this stuff. Machriz bat ploni leploni. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's a bat code that says who's going to marry whom, which person is going to end up with whom. Hen birfu'ah, or whether it's for refu'ah, Bezrat Hashem, refu'ah shalama for kol am Yisrael, kol cholot, v'cholim. But also for refu'ah shalama, for healing, it's the same thing. Hashem itbarach bachriz ala machala matai tavo matai tetzeh. Hashem says when an illness will come and when it'll leave. Exact moment. So this is a beautiful sentence. Why should a person worry about something that's not for him to worry about? If it's not up to you, if something is not up to you, and there's nothing you could do about it, worrying doesn't get anything fixed. So why worry? If there is something you could do about it, then do it. But once you come to that point where it's completely out of your hands, what is worry going to do now? Drive you crazy? That's it. Is it going to make anything better? Not at all. It'll just drive you crazy. The only time a person worries is when you actually think it's in your hands. It's up to you. Once you realize that, okay, I've done my best, it's up to here, there's nothing else I can do, there's nothing to worry about anymore. There's nothing you could worry about anymore. The Gaon Mivilna says in the pasuk, a person has to live life like an infant. Does an infant ever worry about eating?
No.
It doesn't worry. It knows. It knows the moment it needs food, food comes. The moment it needs to be changed, it'll get changed. That's it. It's always going to have food because the mother's always there, as long as the mother's always there. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our mother and our father. He's always there, he always knows. You don't have to worry about him doing his job. He's been doing his job for long enough and he knows exactly what he's doing. He doesn't need any help from us or any worry or any tenseness from us. And this is how a person has to believe in Hashem, right? That everything is up to Him, and everything, as long as we do our best, obviously. Not to be like, okay, okay, I sit, he do. You sit, no one's going to do nothing, right? If you don't try your best, if you're not putting your best foot forward, nothing's going to happen for you. But at the same time, you need to also recognize that if you've already done your best, there's nothing else you can do. So worrying about something that's not working out the way you want it to work out, it's lunacy.
How do you know you've done your best?
Trust me, when it comes to that point, you know. There comes a point when you go, oh, what am I supposed to do now? What else is there that I can do that I haven't done already?
There's always something.
No, I disagree. I disagree. There are a lot of times, even there are things that you could more do. Sometimes, listen, a person has to understand. You could live life where you feel that you have to work like a dog to make ends meet. Or you could live a life where you say, I'll work the minimum I have to work because I know what I'm supposed to make comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu anyway. The fact that I'm supposed to work is just for me to put my 2 cents into it. To make things look natural. There's 2 different people in the world. You could be group A or group B. Both of them, at the end of the day, will make the same exact amount. One works like a dog. The other one actually understands that I really don't have to work like a dog. Prime example. You want a prime example? You have people that have to work on Shabbat, or else they can't pay the rent. Like, you tell them, and they say, listen, I understand, right? I don't know how you guys do it, but listen, if I don't work on Shabbat, I won't be able to pay my workers, I won't be able to pay my rent, I won't be able to pay, I won't. There's one question you can ask those people. There's millions of Jews, very successful ones, some, right? That don't work on Shabbats, they don't work on holidays, they even take time off for learning and lectures and all of that, and they still do very well. So how are they doing it? Somebody's getting the raw end of the deal here. Right? Somebody's getting the raw end of the deal. The deal is, it's very simple. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says this is the amount of money you're supposed to make. Now, you could treat it as you want. You could work like a dog, you'll make that money. Or you could believe that I'm the one who's giving you the money and work like a regular person and you'll make that money. That's the difference of emunah. When you have emunah in Hashem, when you really believe that Hashem is the one that provides, then Hashem says, okay, now you're believing in me, you're putting it into my hands, then I'm here for you. But if HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that you're trying to do everything on your own, and Hashem says, yeah, you think you can do a better job, go ahead. Then you do it all. Then you have to make ends meet. If you kick me out of the equation, then so be it. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. So it's our choice. Do we want to kick Hashem out of the equation? Do we want to kick him out of our lives? Or do we want to say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's your world, you're running it, not up to me, whether I work or not, or at the end of the day, I just need to do my best. Which means I'm not going to drive myself crazy. Everything is ordained from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything. You cannot lift a finger without HaKadosh Baruch Hu want you to lift a finger. If you have that belief system, worry-free life will be what you will have. It says the Reb Elimelech Mlizinsk and Reb Zusha Mi'anipoli, these two Rebbeim, the Rebbes, they would travel together. You know why they would travel together? Not the kind of traveling that we do. They used to go on exiles together. Right? Those days, I don't know if people do it these days also, but they would take upon themselves exiles. Chachamim would take exiles upon themselves, which meant they would go and change city from city to city, quite often, in order so that no one knows who they are, no one knows how great they are, and they always looked pretty much disheveled because they didn't have a home. They were in exile, right? Sleeping, and they would never ask anyone, they were not allowed to ask anyone for food, or they were never ever, allowed to ask anyone for invitations for Shabbat and Mu'adim. That was the rule of exile. It meant that you have to wait to be invited. You want food, you have to wait for someone to say, would you like some food? That's how they would exile themselves. Why? In order to get cleansed from their sins. As if these chachamim, these gedolim had any sins to be erased. They would give themselves these hardships in order to cleanse themselves from their averot. Imagine, right? So in one time they were in a town, and they had found a corner for themselves, and next to a pub someplace. And it was a cold winter, trying to get some sleep next to a heater, right? So they were sleeping behind each other on the ground. One of them was closer to the heater. One of them was behind the other one, right? And as they're trying to get some shut-eye, there's two drunks sitting at the pub drinking. All of a sudden, one of them catches, his eye catches one of these old gentlemen sleeping on the floor. And turns to his friend and goes, you believe this? Look at these old geezers sleeping here. Must be like dirty Jews. I want to give one of them a beating. One says, which one? He goes, right here. The one sleeping right here, closer to you. Want to give him a beating. He goes, no problem, let's do it. They jump the porter off, and they beat the lights out of him. And they throw him back like a dead body. He crawls back into his spot. The other Rebbe that was lying there, he says, what zechut did you have? Why did you merit to get a beating? Do you know how many avarot of yours were erased right now from getting a beating right now? How come you had the zechut of getting this beating and I didn't? What did I do wrong in Hashem's eyes for you to get the beating? Why was this chosen for you? He says, I don't know. My brother, I don't know. Let's just get some shut-eye. Try to sleep again. These two guys turn around. It's like they couldn't see these guys. Look at them. They just went back to sleep. I don't like this dude. So you want to give him another beating? I want to give him another beating. All right, which one? He goes, right here. Just give him another beating. They take him again. And they start beating the living lights out of him. Throw him back like a piece of trash. He crawls back to his spot, and the Rebbe turns and goes, I don't understand. Now twice already, you had the zechut of being beaten, and this is your averot, being erased, being embarrassed, being shamed, being stepped on. Why don't I get the zechut? He says, I don't know. I'm so sorry, my brother. I wish you could have the same zechut. Right? So he says, can you help me, please? Can you change spots with me? Because if they pick again, they're going to probably pick you again because you're closer to them. Change spots with me. He says, fine. Changes spots. 5 minutes later, he goes, look at him. He went back to sleep again. They're the same spot. I want to give him a beating. Take him. He goes, same one. He goes, you know what? Not the same one. The other one that was sleeping closer to the heater. That one's hasn't gotten any tonight. I don't want him to feel like he's lucky. Take him. They take the same Rebbe again and they beat him again.
Is this a real story?
This is a true story.
What is Jews being?
Listen to this. No. These are Russians probably. This is from. So the Rebbe, he says, I learned a lesson from here. Not only your parnasah is ordained by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your refuah is ordained by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your food is ordained by Hashem. Not only that, even your kaparat avonot, even your beatings, everything has to be measured by Hashem. There's nothing you could do to change it. There's nothing you can do. If it's meant for you, it'll come to you. If it's not meant for you, even if it's a beating, you're not going to get it. You want the beating. You're not going to get it if it's not meant for you. So it's so sad sometimes to see that we fight. People fight over businesses, fight over honor, fight. It's ludicrous. Because not a penny will go from your pocket to another person's pocket if it's not theirs. You will never make a penny of someone else's money. Guaranteed. You will never lose a penny to somebody else if it's not for them to keep. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly how much each person is supposed to have in life, whatever it is you're supposed to have. Worrying about it and going crazy about it and always rubbernecking to see what the other guy is doing, how many people does he have, how's she doing in her business? What is the only thing you'll gain, chas v'shalom, is probably an ulcer from worrying. You're definitely not going to make anything else for yourself. Therefore, emunah is not just about business, it's about everything. Emunah means believing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world and He doesn't skip a second. Every minute detail is ordained. So you go into the work world, you go into the business world, you go into the shidduchim world, you want to get married, whatever it is, believe me, if it's yours, that's all it is. It's yours. If it's not, you could climb mountains, you will not get to it because it's not yours. But that's the great thing about it. You know why? Because the opposite is true also. If it's yours, it's going to be yours. No matter what. If it's meant for you, you're going to get it. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.
Wow.